Hey everybody, it's me, Violet Imagery, and tonight I am teaching a wonderful Tarot Made Easy class. So, not only are we going to dive into traditional tarot, which is the major arcana and the minor arcana, but we're also going to dive into the deck that I created myself, which does kind of switch it up. There are some added cards and some different cards in the major arcana and the minor arcana that aren't traditional. So you know what? I think that's the vibe, and I'm a vibe. So let's get going because it's going to be super cute. So the first thing is the major arcana. So the major arcana is considered the fool's journey. And you are the fool. Whoever you are reading is the fool, you know. So the fool is the person having these experiences. And it's basically the fool's journey is the adventure through spiritual development. The fool goes through all of these mental, emotional, spiritual, psychological changes as they meet and experience all of these other cards through the major arcana. And in the simplest way, the major arcana, if that comes out in a reading, that's major changes. It's not anything little. These are major things to focus on. So when you're doing a reading and you pull a major arcana, you know, like, okay, boom, what is good? What's coming out around this card? Because that's going to help me describe what major life experience this person or yourself has either had, is having, or is about to have. So the major arcana, major changes. That's the biggest thing. So some people, just reading cards in general, some people do like to use spreads and some people don't. It is all up to your preference, and in all honesty, reading is your preference too. If I tell you the meaning of this card and you automatically kind of say to yourself, you know, I'm kind of getting this, go with that. You are not bound by my words. You know, if you say to yourself, you know what, this seems kind of dark and mysterious, and I'm kind of feeling like this is about rising above something. Symbology. It's all how you interpret it. A snake to me might not be a snake to you. So always go with your gut. The root of a meaning does not mean that it is the root of your meaning. Okay? So just throwing that out there, you know, at any point in time, if you look at one of these cards and are kind of like, that's not my vibe, write down your vibe. Okay? Because, like, for real, that's what matters most. So with the major arcana, it's split into 3 areas. So the first 7 cards is personal awareness. This is the fool's kind of like wake up call to who they are. This is the fool kind of realizing, like, who am I and what is my purpose here? And then the second set of cards is the collective. So now I know myself, and now I'm experiencing the collective. So this is kind of more like external experiences, or how the external is now affecting the fool, or affecting his journey. And then the last one is personal evolution. This is like, okay, I know myself. Now I've been through a whole bunch of stuff with, you know, the other people in the world and my reality. And now I'm evolving from that. Now I know myself even better. I'm not the same person as when I started. So the last set are normally the hardest hitters, the ones you normally classically hear, like the devil, the tower, you know, the sun, the moon, the star. Those, it is the cosmic connection. It's like, okay, I'm not only connected to myself and others, but I'm connected to everything. So this is kind of the personal evolution where kind of a purpose takes hold. Like this, now I know who I am. I've experienced things, but now this is my purpose of what I'm going to continue developing. So right off of the gate, I did something different with my deck than the original tarot. So the first card here is not the Fool. So don't pay attention to the numerology of my deck because I don't like numerology. So that was not one of my concerns making this deck. So I'll just throw that out there. I know that there's a whole like, well, this is what every number means and why each tarot card is that. I don't care. I don't like math. I don't like numbers. I like images. So I always felt that there had to be something for the Fool to explore. So this is kind of like untapped potential of reality. This is the world before the Fool was even in it. So it's kind of, when this card comes out, I always see it as like, this is a whole new reality taking form. You know, something that you have never experienced before. So it's almost kind of like how they say the Fool gets all the way to the world and then the experience starts over. He's starting over in a new reality. So the Fool's journey is never over. It just constantly goes in a cycle. So I always felt like creation was kind of like that. See your progress, because you made it through at least one whole round. And now, you know, you're getting to start over fresh and with all the wisdom and everything that you brought from the last round. So this is my beginning, whereas traditional tarot, the beginning is the Fool. Okay, so would you suggest that we like, are you going to go through like every card, and should we take notes on every card? Like, what would you suggest? I would definitely say if you want to decide on some keywords, you know, something
to just
that,
write down the first one and then just some keywords for that.
Yep, you could just say, you could put the number like 0, new reality, creation. Okay. Or you could also, you could not, and just watch the video back.
I was thinking about doing that too.
Or do both.
That's what I was thinking too.
Also, if you don't take notes now, then you are doubling down on your personal challenge to literally just read the image with the word and see what you come up with. So that would be a more intuitive process, I would say. So it depends. If you like take notes, take notes. If you don't, I'm not a note taker either. So
I like to take notes.
Yeah.
That's how I stay engaged.
Yeah. I'm more
Otherwise,
of
I'm
like,
like
just gonna jump
somewhere
into it.
See, I'll take notes, but I won't look back at them.
I know, me too. But that's how I stay engaged with you right now.
Right. So you can just do number by number and
Okay.
you know. So now that we have reality, okay, this is where traditional tarot normally begins, the Fool. So normally the Fool is standing on a cliff and it's just like, here we go, whee! But for me, I kind of see the Fool as more of the rose-colored glasses, you know? They see the world full of potential. They don't see the bad. They don't care that they're getting torn up with thorns. They know that life is messy and they are hype about experiencing it. The Fool wants to experience everything the world has to offer. And I think more people need to appreciate that Fool energy. The Fool is not stupid. He's ready. He is not bound by fear. He is not bound by negative experiences. He's not holding himself back in any way. Does that make him a little spontaneous, a little impulsive, a little bit of a risk taker? Yes. Is the Fool most likely to make mistakes out of the entire deck? Yes, because they know that mistakes mean you're learning something. So the Fool, you could do rose-colored glasses, possibilities, potential.
Got it.
I always also see this one as like taking some sort of leap of faith. Like, you know what? You see what you want at the bottom of the cliff. Just go. Just jump. You see flowers that you want to pick in the garden. Go. So it's about not holding yourself back. Just go do it because you want to do it.
That's how I feel like I am.
Just go do it because you want to do it. So maybe the Fool is one of your power cards that you could really focus on when you want to embody that energy and you're feeling that pullback from something.
It's funny because when you said they don't see the bad in anything,
Right.
like I don't want to look at that.
Yeah,
I just want to look
exactly.
over here.
Exactly. I'm trying to pay attention to what's in front of me and what feels good because that's what I deserve.
Exactly.
So now that the Fool has kind of taken that leap and taken that jump, now it's like, wow, look at all these tools that I have at my disposal. So this is the Magician, and in my deck it's the Craft, because you are honing in on your craft. You're finding out what tools and what wisdoms work best for you. Like I said, I'm not into numerology, so knowing and learning those things is not really going to help me because I'm not interested in it. Or some people, they don't like tarot. You know, they're more into crystals or they're more into astrology or whatever. It's about finding the tools and the resources, not just physical tools, but also people. You know, the witch and the magician, they're mingling. They're trying to find people who can understand what they're experiencing or people that they can also learn from as well. So the Magician is about understanding all of the tools at your disposal, which, you know, you'll see even on the card. She has all of the elements sitting in front of her. She has the water in the cup. She has the incense. She has the candles. She has the earth beneath her. You know, she's using all of the tools that she was given to manifest. That's another big one that I always see the Magician as too. Like, you are manifesting in process. So whenever that one comes out for somebody, I'll always say, you know, whatever you're manifesting, you know what it is, but you might need to find some more resources. So like once you start diving in, based on what you feel and how you connect to the cards, they'll tell you what their specific message is when you pull them. You know, and they might be different than what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling, because, you know, it's all based off of your experience and your interpretation of them, right? So this is also where I divert yet again in my deck. So normally it goes from the Magician to the High Priestess. In my deck, before I found my spiritual self, which would be the High Priestess, I more found people, the Coven. So I had my personal awakening to magic, which would be the Magician. I'm seeing my tools, I'm finding what I'm interested in. And then I find people who are vibing the same way. I learned more from my peers. And that's why in my deck, this had to come between the Craft and the Shaman. I didn't just become a magical baddie, okay? I had to go through a lot of experiences through people to see that within myself. So I didn't just automatically see it. So for this one, I always say like minds. Like this is very soul tribe. Like these are people who get it. You all might be different. You all might think differently, feel differently, know different things, but you're all going the same direction. You all have the same goal. So especially when this comes out with business stuff as well, I'm like, these are the people that you want to trust. You know, if they don't have that energy of, I see your vision and we're going the same way, they're not the people, you know, they're not the people to mess with, because they're not going to take you where you want to go, okay? So this is definitely finding people who are in your energy, you know? And also sometimes I also do see this as kind of like, could be siblings. Sometimes that comes out as siblings. Or like having a very strong feminine family as well. Kind of generational feeling. But overall, it's people that you feel that they get it. You can learn from them. You can teach them. It's very, I feel like the words camaraderie, something like that. But so, and then kind of, so you do a solo journey with the magician, and then you kind of spread out a little bit to the coven, but then you step up. You step it up to the next level. And what does the coven need? They need a leader. They need the high priestess.
Is that the shaman?
Mm-hmm. So the shaman is the one who guides others. They're the ones that have so deeply connected with their intuition, with their self, with the spirit world, not just within, but the ability to tap into others as well. I also see this card as like somebody who has some sort of psychic ability. Like 100%, if you get this card in a reading for either yourself or somebody else, you have some sort of psychic ability. And a lot of times I normally get drawn to dreams for this one, because shamans are normally dream walkers in some way, or some sort of, they can guide people through their own inner realities, which I kind of find very, like kind of dream walkery, but yeah, so this is kind of like the leader and the fulfilling, your own inner spirituality, like your own spiritual awareness with yourself. And also being silent. The shaman does not need to speak. She knows that silence is the only time that you can truly hear. So sometimes also depending, and also no, everything I'm saying is also like, look at what comes out around these cards too, because that is going to deepen the message. I read cards like a book. I don't do spreads. I let them energetically come out and tell me where they want to go within the grand scheme of the story. And it's almost like each card is a chapter, letting you know, like, this is what happened around this time, or like, this is what's happening in the next chapter, or, whatever. So all of these were pretty, until the shaman, these are pretty surface level experiences. You're just a happy-go-lucky fool running around doing your thing, and now things kind of start to open up a little bit. So the next two cards go together. So we have the Divine Mother and the Divine Father, which is basically the Empress and the Emperor. This is duality. This is realizing that we are both masculine and feminine. So with the Empress and the Emperor, it's about seeing what each of them has to teach us. So the Empress is a soft power. She doesn't need to push you around. She doesn't need to be, strong arming you. she's soft. She's soft. She connects you to nature. She connects you to healing. The Empress is very much so about showing you how to be compassionate of the world around you. In the original, in traditional tarot, she is pregnant. So that's kind of like the fertileness of the earth, the fertileness of your ideas. So a lot of times when you also get the Empress, it's letting you know, like, you got the power. You know, the baby's not there yet. Like, the manifestation hasn't come in yet, but like, you're there. It's happening. Whereas the Emperor, he is structure, achievement, order, control. The Emperor can kind of, I mean, he's a little bit harder of a hitter. You can see just the difference in energy. It is the flow of the tree and the leaves and the water to desert rock man, you know. So negatively, sometimes the Empress or the Divine Mother can kind of be a little too soft. She kind of lets a little too much slide because she's just trying to go with the flow of how things develop. Where the Emperor's like, I'm a bust you up. The Emperor's like, I will Spartan kick you into what needs to happen. So, and it's also kind of like the overbearing, kind of like the negative male experience where it's all overburdened. It's all just like superimposed responsibility that they're holding the weight of the world on their shoulders. So, but that's, the Emperor is building a foundation and the Empress is making that foundation grow. You need both. We can't just stay in one or the other, you know. So it's definitely important that we do tap into both of our divine feminine and masculine energies because they're both super important. So these are kind of experiencing that duality inside of yourself. Whereas the next card, the Lovers, this is the Fool's first experience with love. And again, this is also where I reroute again in my deck. So before the Lovers, there is the Hierophant. I never connected to the Hierophant. That's why I took it out of my deck. The Hierophant is very, I always saw it as traditional, spiritual, yes, but more spiritual in a religious manner. I did not grow up with that. I had no religion in my life. So the Hierophant was always kind of like, not my vibe. But in traditional tarot, the Hierophant is receiving messages externally from guides, mentors. So it's like people that the Fool meets who guides them not from within. They're teaching the Fool about something. But it also, it reminds the Fool to follow the rules and learn the lessons. And I am obviously a rebel, and I was like, ew, rules, rules and traditions, bleh. So yeah, I took the Hierophant out. But that, the Hierophant is all about learning the lessons that come with opening up spiritually. Because that's how it is. But for me, you kind of go from that inner duality to the Lovers, which is now I'm experiencing myself through another person. This is kind of the first time that the Fool is falling in love with somebody kind of other than themselves. And as you can see on the card, my Lovers is Romeo and Juliet. Because I cannot stand when people get the Lovers card and they're like, oh my God, that means that it's meant to be and this is my soulmate. No. No, you might kill each other. I mean, that's really the reality of it. The Lovers is not about being a soulmate. The Lovers is about teaching you all levels of love. And it's the reminder that relationships, not just romantic, take time, effort, and attention. So this is the first time the Fool really finds value within something else that isn't inside of them. So I always see this as some people are here for a good time and not a long time. And some people are there forever. It really depends on what you're both willing to exchange with each other. And a lot of times, this is really not a romantic card for me either. This could be a best friend. You know, this could be bettering a relationship with a family member. Like, again, it all kind of depends on the cards that come out around it. But I always see the Lovers as a mirror. You are seeing yourself, whether you like it or not, in another person. And that is what makes it good or bad. Did you meet somebody who just mirrors all your toxic traits that you're refusing to deal with? Okay, well then it's probably going to be a toxic relationship. Or are you meeting somebody who's aligned with the higher version of yourself that's healed? Okay, great. That's probably closer to like a soulmate or a forever connection. So it really depends on where the person's at. Okay. And normally, first loves go horribly. So they normally create some sort of internal battle. The heart says stay, the head says go. The Chariot and self-mastery.
Okay.
It's about the battle between the head and the heart. And trying to get them on the same page so that, oh my goodness, please, can we just move beyond this? So they both have very different experiences. The head leans towards the structure, where the heart leads towards the more spiritual, emotional. Those are very hard to find a path where they compromise with each other. So the Fool has to really work on getting these two energies working together, and then also understanding when it's time to let one lead or the other. Because sometimes you do need to let the heart lead. They're going to get you the best outcome. And sometimes you got to let the head lead because they're going to get you the best outcome. But it's turning the being ripped apart into an actual movement forward. Okay?
He's got a unibrow.
He does. He does.
He's got that expression on his face like, hey, what's up?
He's having a hard time. I mean,
He's
just
carrying a heart, right?
And then the brain is behind him, getting pulled apart. And this is what we do to ourselves. This is kind of one of the energies of like, you are your worst enemy. Like, most of the time you're the reason you're not moving forward because you are stuck in this battle in some way, shape, or form.
Here
So,
she comes.
This is my favorite. This is my my personal.
Does she have tears on her face?
It's face paint.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
So these next two cards are the external versus the internal. A lot of the major arcana are pairs. They're matches. Because they are like kind of like the Empress and the Emperor, it's all dualities of something. So Strength and the Hermit is the external versus the internal.
What's the internal? These?
No, the
Hermit?
internal is the Hermit.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay, this is the external, this is the internal.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So Strength is being assertive without being harsh. It's realizing that you don't have to, beat somebody into submission. They kind of either care about you enough to listen and be respectful, or they don't. So it's kind of that like learning how to let people be whatever they're going to be. And also just realizing that in the original tarot, it's a woman with the lion, and she like has the lion's mouth open. So it's kind of that feeling of I might be in a bad spot, but I'm not afraid. You know, you can also see it as taming the beast. So you can see on the strength card, yeah, there's a giant crocodile there. There's a snake literally wrapped around her arm. She is not worried. She knows that she has power over the external. So it's the ability to be strong but not cruel. You know, if that makes sense. And then very oppositely, the hermit is like, I don't want to deal with anybody. Leave me alone. Go away.
And that's their feet coming out up there.
It's a person standing at, yeah, so it's like the person walked away.
Oh, gotcha. I see it now.
So the hermit's just about being alone. It's like, okay, you know what? After all these cards, all these experiences that we've been through, I need a break. That's the hermit. I need a break. I need time to process. So the hermit is really taking that step back to process everything that you've been going through. And we all need this hermit moment sometimes. Sometimes we beat ourselves out of it. But we all need this hermit mode because it helps us tune back into ourselves. You know, sometimes the world can get very, very loud. So the hermit, just like the shaman, is another one of those like, shh, just be quiet and listen and feel. So yeah, this is definitely about just processing the journey. And if you need to learn something new too, I like to see the hermit as kind of like, I'm going to step back and observe or reassess. I'm going to step back. Maybe I got to learn something new so that when I come back into reality, things will go better. Things will go more my way. So after we come back into reality after a long break, and we're aligned. So alignment is us kind of leveling up. This is us realizing, like, you know what? I did learn a lot through those last experiences. I really did make a lot of changes within myself. In regular tarot, this is justice. So it's kind of the hermit observed, you know, what was really truly happening. And now we're back into alignment, and justice or karma or whatever can kind of be served. But it's really, this is also, it's a balancing act. It's realizing that, okay, well, if I step forward and I take a negative action, I'm going to get a negative action back. It's cause and effect. So that's a good one for this one. It's cause and effect. Are you going to act in alignment with your highest good or out of alignment of your highest good? Okay? Because that's going to, of course, decide the outcome. And then the Wheel of Fortune is really easy peasy. It's a circle. It's a cycle. It's a pattern. You gonna keep riding the same ride forever? You know, are you gonna spend another year doing the same thing with the same people, knowing you're not happy about it? So the wheel, depending on what comes out around it, again, if good stuff is coming out, it's saying, yeah, this person is getting rid of that old pattern and that old cycle. So that would mean the wheel is turning in their favor. Whereas if there's, you know, bad stuff around it, it might be like, hey, you're gonna get off the ride. Like you're allowed to do that. You don't have to stay here. And then when I'm doing readings, this card also gives me timing. I'll either be drawn to a specific month. So you'll notice that the little carts are actually the Sabbats. And then there's the clock in the middle. So I'll either be drawn to a certain number on the clock, or I'll be drawn to a certain kind of time of the year. So that can, when you pull this card, try to vibe it out. Vibe it out. Sometimes people have specific questions and stuff, and that can kind of help you tune into that as well. Or say you do have a specific timing question for yourself, dig through and find that card. And ask the question again and see what you're drawn to. All right, so here's where we kind of start dealing with some gunk, okay, some gunkies. The Hanged Man. This is basically like the rug has gotten pulled out from under me. Like my whole world got flipped upside down, literally. But then after sitting there for a moment, the Hanged Man kind of realizes I'm really seeing this situation in a whole new way, and it's helping me change my perspective. So the Hanged Man is not bad. It really is just realizing that there is a better way to see something. And you kind of need to look at things differently, but it could also be hesitation. What are you hanging around for? What are you waiting around for? Because you can see in the background, this car drove away. They weren't waiting anymore. They were like, peace. You're not ready for the ride. So this can also very much so be, it's okay to wait and get a new perspective and kind of observe, but don't wait around so long
Did you get
that
that?
you kind of screw yourself over. Yeah, exactly. Opportunities don't wait around forever. So the Hanged Man is don't wait forever. And then of course, normally, after we get a new perspective, we also have a nice little ego death, okay? And 9 times out of 10, this is another one of the cards where everybody's like, oh my God, death, I'm dying, I'm gonna die, oh my God. No. More than likely, you're having an ego death, or there is something that no longer serves you that is begging for you to cut it out of your existence. And this is a huge lesson for the Fool, because it's the realization that you have to get rid of things in order to make room for better things and for new things. So it's not an easy experience, but it is a necessary one. This is definitely, and I really did try to soften a lot of my imagery in comparison to traditional tarot, where death is literally like the Grim Reaper on a horse, and there's people begging him for him not to kill them in original tarot. I was like, let's not do that. So this is, I always see this as we're letting go of the weight of the things that we used to carry. So we're going from the heavy, heavy skull to the light moth. We're freeing ourselves.
I feel bad for that skull.
And
He looks like, oh,
he's
so
sad.
sad.
He is sad. But he's sad because he wouldn't let go. That's the version of us that's sad and worn down, and the part that doesn't get us to where we're going. Luckily though, after a little bit of hardships with those last couple cards, we step into something a little more relaxing. Okay, so this card is called Sanctuary, and in traditional tarot it is called Temperance. So this is the understanding that there is time to take action and then there's time to relax. It's finding that balance again. So kind of like alignment, but this is like leaning a little more towards like action versus no action instead of positive action versus negative action. Does that make sense? So this card is definitely a reminder to be very flexible in the directions that you could potentially go, because you really never know what kind of opportunities could come in for you, so don't limit yourself. Now that you let go of what doesn't serve you, now all of this new potential just opened up, so don't limit yourself. You know, you made all this room with the death card, now you can come in and actually like enjoy the space that you created. This is also a lot of like emotional healing. And I also find it as like, if this comes out for somebody, they need a vacation. Like you need to take a break, take a day off, take a nap. Like you need to rest and recharge, because I mean, this is a hard experience. You want to rest after this kind of thing, you know? So then we're kind of hit with, we only get a little break. The Fool does not get many breaks in this world, because life is hard. Like, let's just be real. We all know life is hard, and the Fool is here to experience it on every spectrum. So after this kind of relaxation, the Fool kind of gets thrown back into some hardships. So I always see the Devil card as it's the chains that we put on ourselves. It is our bad habits, our limiting belief systems. It is where we keep ourselves stuck. And allowing, these are mainly self-imposed chains. But say I was to pull this with the Lovers card, yeah, these are chains imposed onto you by other people. Okay, so these are chains that keep us down. And they're really easy to break. Chains are not hard to break. You literally just take them off of you. They're not locked. They're not, you know, you are not trapped. It's literally just take them off and keep it moving. So, but in order to do that, we kind of go right into the next card, which is our Tower moment. Yet another one that everybody absolutely loses their mind over, which I get, because in original tarot, it's literally a tower on fire with people jumping out of it. Like, okay, that's intense. But I always kind of saw that as, I mean, at least they're getting out.
Well, no, but I also saw it as it's a dumb moment. You know what's not working,
Right.
And it's pretty much telling you either shit or get off the pot.
Exactly. So I always saw it as like, okay, well, the house is on fire. Do you want to just jump,
Right.
or do you want to burn? You kind of you don't have many options in this scenario. So the tower or cleansing is kind of what I put it as. This is your complete crumbling of your foundation. Everything that the Fool built up into this point it's done now. It means nothing. So this is really kind of the first time that the Fool, like, death is the beginning of an ego death. The Tower is the finishing of it. So those, like, that long stretch of cards is really just like bam, 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 breaking that ego down little by little. It's the humbling, okay? And in my representation, it's clear, it's just clearing out the old junk for good. This is go through what you have, what you hoard, what you keep around, and get rid of things that serve you no purpose anymore, okay? And I mean, it's a tornado, so it's still crappy. It's not easy. And I always tell people, if you don't take the action to do it yourself, The universe will do it for you. Not for you, but they'll put you in the situation where you will be forced to do it. So say that, oh, you keep putting off taking your car in to get its tags renewed. Eventually, you're going to get pulled over, and now the universe is going to be like, yeah, pay that fine and go do that. Because you wouldn't, it was too hard, you know. But the universe will put you in the position where you are forced to do it to show you there's better. There's better out there. I'm going to push you out of this burning building, but it's so that you can survive and go make something of yourself, you know. And I think that is where a lot of people get stuck in the Fool's Journey. Those couple cards between Death and the Tower, they get stuck there. They get stuck because that is a very trapping feeling. It is the forceful, you know what you need to do, but are you going to accept it and do it? And I think that's where so many people are trapped in their current experience, because it's a lot easier to get stuck in the energies of fear, worries, you know, doubt, and kind of get trapped in a lot of that during that ego death experience through those last couple cards.
You know, sometimes I think people, that's their identity. And also, I think some people just get comfortable with it.
I think it's also, you know what to expect.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
it's
specifically
easy.
with relationships, because you're like, I'm really not happy, but it goes back to the fear, but at least I know what I'm dealing with.
Right. It's just choosing the devil you know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exactly. So that's all that is. That whole last couple cards of a process from the Hanged Man all the way to the Tower is, you know you're not happy, and here's what you can do to be better, but it's going to require sacrificing and releasing everything that you thought you knew, everything you thought that you wanted, and everything that you have basically dedicated your current life to. So, do you want it or not? A lot of people don't choose that, but you know what? If you do, you get to move on to the Star. The Star is kind of like the first time that your spirit gets to shine through unencumbered. It's not covered, you know, and it's also, she's naked. This is pure vulnerability, not just to yourself, but to other people. This is somebody who says, I know everything that I've been through, and I haven't always been a good person. I haven't always done the right thing. The Star owns it. And the Star, this is always a healer card to me. Because she's doing energy work on herself in the mirror. So this is always a healer card to me. And it's also the reminder that, you know, you're in a much better place, but there's still more manifesting for you. But this is more in a good way than the like chaos way. This is like your blessings for doing the work are coming. Just sit and, you know, breathe. And this is also connecting to your higher self as well. So you're seeing the physical version of yourself, but now you're connected to that higher self too, which is the energy in the mirror. So this could also, I see this a lot as like spiritual development, in terms of like really learning how to work with spirit. So the magician would be working with like physical tools, whereas the Star, it's like a channel. It's working directly with spirit. All right. So I always like to pair these two together too. So how the Empress and the Emperor, that was the divine feminine and masculine, so is the sun and the moon. The moon is the divine feminine and the sun is the divine masculine. It's also the sun is the conscious and the moon is the subconscious. So when I pull the moon, negatively, it can be things that are hidden or illusions, because it's dark. You can't always see everything when the moon's out. You know, unless it's full and beam, and you can see most things, but you know, there's still that like a mysticky vibe, if that makes sense. Everything is kind of still cloaked. You know, it's not obvious. The moon is about subtle details, where the sun is just like, bam! Everything's lit up. Here's your sign. Here's the path. Easy peasy. Go that way. So the sun, the moon for me is very subconscious, could also be dreams. This is another dream card for sure. And then the sun is more like, I view the sun as the best card in the deck. It's vitality, happiness, you made it. This, you are shining now. You're not just a little star, you are the star. You are the center focus. So this can negatively sometimes be a little prideful. Like, okay, calm down, we can all be suns. You might be your sun in your life, but I'm my sun in my life, okay? But overall, if I pull this is letting me know, yeah, it's gonna be a long path. But you're gonna get there, and you're already way further than you were. So like, this is confirmation, like you're gonna get there. Just keep going. This is proof that you're going in the right direction. Okay. Now this is another card that a lot of people get thrown off by, because normally it's titled Judgment.
Okay.
So normally in traditional tarot, Judgment is a bunch of naked people, vulnerability. If you see naked things, that is being vulnerable or unmasked in a way as well. You cannot hide anything. And then there's like the angel with the trumpet. So everybody's being judged. Judgment on high. But I wanted to change it more to, we are not being judged alone. We're being judged all together. We are not in this alone. This is the collective consciousness. So when I pull this is also another one of my big soul tribe cards. But this is about being the leader. This is you. You've made it through almost the entire Fool's journey. You know your purpose. You know how to guide people. You know how to connect people.
This way. Yeah, I run hot anyway, so.
Me too. She was like, we don't have heat. And I was like, that's fine. But yeah, so the collective for me is just like, we're all howling at the same moon. We're all, you know, we all came here with our own purposes, and we might not always get along, but we're in this together. So deal with it. This also in traditional tarot, it reminds the Fool that we kind of have the ultimate choice of how the future goes. Regardless of the past, we can still choose what happens next. And this is kind of, I feel like, where we are at right now as a collective consciousness of, okay, we've all kind of like messed up like a lot. Can we do better? Like, can we all get together and like do good things? And you know, we're still out for decision on that. But you know what, at the end of the day, it's never over. Because like I said at the very beginning, once you get to the last card, you're right back at the first. So when you pull the World or the Source, this is when the Fool has completely gained self-awareness, cosmic connection, and completed their cycle. This the world is about accepting the many ups and downs that we've experienced and knowing that it still isn't the end all be all. It just is. So this is just the completion. Like, you did it. You can see that you went from a little girl running through the garden with rose-colored glasses to a literal goddess that is about to birth a new reality, which is creation. You see where I went with that? You see where I went with that? So you can kind of see she is holding the moon and the world in her hands, and then it comes down and boom. So you can, it's almost like the macro to the micro, the big picture to the small picture. You know, it's like a zoom in. But yeah, the source is literally just about like, you did it. You have completed and learned whatever lesson that the cards were talking about in that specific moment. So just remembering to like pat yourself on the back, because there's another lesson right around the corner. So, all right, whew, that is a lot to take in. I know. Any questions that jump out of your head about any of the Fool's Journey at all? Any cards, like if you want to flip back through real quick and get a little recheck, like is there anything that was kind of like, you know, or if you even have your own thought of like, yeah, well, you said this, but like I'm kind of vibing with this, you know, anything at all.
Okay, so if you get the moon card, then that means that there may be some things that haven't come out yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, they can be hidden.
Yeah, and then the sun means that things are going to be revealed.
Yeah, and it's gonna be like direct
Right.
to the face.
Okay. 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 And the star is like a reflection?
Yeah, the star is kind of like seeing your higher self
Okay.
and realizing that it's you. You are already that. You're already all of the amazing things that you hope and wish to be. You are already that. It's you seeing yourself for the first time without the ego.
Gotcha. Okay.
No, I was gonna say, when I look at the Hangman, I'm like, dude, you can untie yourself.
Literally.
Really? I mean,
exactly.
It's like
it's a handkerchief. Calm
right,
down.
Right. Yeah, it's like
Like, it's not that serious.
No, and that's what cracks me up because
That's
it's
what we do, though. We get ourselves hung up on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
things. I have a shirt that I wait a second while I overthink
Right.
this. Okay,
Overthink
you see,
this.
and I go,
Yeah.
and it's the dumb stuff. Okay, like I won't stress out over the big stuff. You know, like if I'm going on a trip, and say for example, Southwest back in the day when you had to make sure you register, you got in as soon as possible so you could be in like Group A, Group B.
Right.
God forbid I was in Group C because then I would be stressed out over, oh my God, where can I find a seat? And I remember one time, I literally was so stressed out. I was like, I'm going to upgrade myself because I can't deal with it. So, yeah, it's some of the little things where other people be like, aren't you stressed out over that? Nah, it's the dumb stuff.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But it's that perception. And it's like, it's so based off of your experience. So, think if you're just a little baby fool and then everybody's really hard on you for things that don't matter and then things that are, easy peasy, they're like, oh, it's fine. Now you're old and you're like, I'm freaking out over like not grabbing my water bottle when the world's ending. So like, where is my perspective at? So, and then if you were to ask yourself right here and right now, where do you think that you are in your own fool's journey? So out of every card that we kind of dug into, where do you think that you are at within yourself and within your experience?
I think, go ahead, Kat.
No, I was going to say, It depends on what aspect I'm looking at.
Right.
Okay.
Right,
So
right,
like for work, I'm like, I think the coven.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just started a new job. But like personal, like my marriage, I would say more transformation.
Right.
Because there was some stuff I got caught up in my head, and my husband Tony was doing his thing, and now we've started to discuss it. So we're like, okay,
Right.
type of thing.
And transformation doesn't have to be bad either. I find transformation
No.
to be beautiful.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it could be ugly, but beautiful.
Why would it be ugly?
The feeling of it.
Just because it's
Transforming
something new and
doesn't. Transforming doesn't necessarily feel good, but it is good. Does that make sense? It's almost like
Yeah.
It's almost like seeing a butterfly come out of a cocoon, and it's like all like wet and weird and slimy and like awkward, and like it can't fly yet, and it's just like, but then it calms and dries and fully has the experience, and now it's beautiful and it can fly away. So it's kind of like there is an awkward stage to healing, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. And just identifying it is hard, and then once you do, then you're like,
Yep. Now I got to dig into this.
And I always think
Cool.
too, sometimes society, like depending on who's in your life,
Mm-hmm.
when you do your transformation, you know that some people are not going to be happy with it. So you have to be able to stand, have your boundaries and stand firm going, this is not about you, it's about me.
Right.
right.
I think that's a big part of the devil and the tower card, because it's literally like I'm not holding myself back anymore, but I'm seeing where other people and other situations are trying to hold me down, but I don't have to accept that.
Right.
I can kick them out of my tower. My tower is not on fire. You're the only reason my tower sucks right now. Bye. And then where do you feel like you're at?
I feel like I was thinking back here in the beginning, I feel like the craft,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like I'm learning so much.
Yeah.
And that everything is just like blowing my mind.
Right.
You know what I mean? Literally.
Yeah.
Because there's just like, oh my gosh. It's just so cool. Everything is just like, wow.
Right.
You know what I mean? And even the things that I've heard that are not good, it's like, wow.
Right.
Right. And then like the shaman, that person thinks that they're all that, right? Is that
No, they're more like they're ready to help other people find themselves because they have found themselves. Like
I feel like that's me too.
yeah, like
Because
their
I feel like
spiritual
I'm
self.
good with here,
Mhm.
but you're talking about how other people are not so happy with your journey. As long as when you're talking about it, they're okay.
Right.
But when you start really making action,
Right.
then I think that it makes them feel like, well, damn, I guess I need to do something. Or, well, who do you think you are?
Mm-hmm.
And I have had that since
Yeah.
I opened the center.
Well, it's
There's
that.
2 or 3 people that are just like, done with me.
Mm-hmm.
But then, it's one of those, sometimes you can shed tears, but then you're like, if you look at it as that's allowing other people to come in.
Right.
They've served their purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of people, when it starts out as just talk and an idea, they're like, yeah, you totally support it, love it. And then, because they don't really believe that you'll ever take the action. And then you do, and they're like, oh, well, I can't support this now.
Right.
It definitely feels more, to me, I feel it more as like a kind of, not a jealousy, but a comparison. Like, wow, look at them actually doing something with themselves. Now that forces me to look at myself and see
Yes.
where I don't feel like enough.
Right.
And most times when people get upset about something, it's because we have rubbed a part of their mask away so that they have to see where they're unhappy with
Right.
themselves.
Right.
And I live that life. I chose that as a whole career. So, okay. Do we want to take a little tiny break before
Sure.
jumping into the minor arcana? We still have about an hour and a half. And the minor arcana, I wasn't going to go like card to card to card like I did with the major. Like I said, these are major life changes. The minor is kind of just, they're the little baby details that kind of make things a little clearer. But yeah, so let's just take a quick 5. We'll take a little 5-minute break, stretch our legs.
Okay. I'm gonna go get some crackers. Do you want any?